So when's the last time somebody violated your trust? Like for real. Like you could feel it. If you're thinking about it, gets you tight.
Fresh. Something came to mind immediately. I was like, oh, yeah. And you know what? Now that I've thought about it, are you still carrying that with you?
Oh, I'm definitely still carrying it with me. It influences how I do everything.
So I think about not just trust, but how it influences the way we interact and also what they see of how we interact with each other.
Yeah, I think it's important. It's a long way back to the type of trust that lets you actually be successful at things. This is the Parents and Professors podcast.
Let's get into
Let's
it.
get cracking.
Yo, parents and professors. Yo, parents and professors.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Parents and Professors podcast. I'm Dr. Marjorie Dr. Williams.
I am Dr. Michael Stephen Williams, and we're so glad you're here with us today. And this episode is going to get personal. The intro upset me again, as if I were standing in my little galley kitchen and reliving things.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. It's going to be a real one. We're talking about trust. And in this episode, we wanted to focus on trust in our adult relationships. And so that includes romantic relationships, professional relationships, co-parenting relationships.
Friendships. Yeah.
Friendships.
People too often eliminate friendship from the intimate relationship category, but friendships are intimate relationships.
Yeah. And I think all of that also has an impact on how we move and how we raise our kids.
But before we get into it, don't start ODing before we get into it. You know the drill.
So everything we discussed today comes from research, publicly available information, our own lived experiences as co-parents, professors, and people who have figured some things out along the way. The views that we share are our own.
Yeah, and just to be clear, we are not your therapists. We're not your lawyers. We're not your counselors. We're not your financial advisors. We do have PhDs. Unlike some charlatans out there playing games with the Lord.
I also have an MSW. I have a degree in social work.
I was like, you
clinical
never have to
hours.
Ask me where my degrees are. I have extra backup transcripts in case you're wondering.
But that feels like a conversation for a whole other pod.
Yeah, that's a whole different podcast because we'll get too derailed. But that is adjacent to our topic, which is trust.
Yes.
So there's something you could do that. But anyway, we just want to make sure that the information we share is accurate and grounded in research. But we do encourage you to verify anything that resonates with you. You know, seek some additional resources, do some additional reading because people that read good are very important, especially these days.
They also live better lives. And it's supported by research.
much better lives. And so with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about trust. I think we'll see how long we go. There's a lot to unpack.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack.
So we have talked about what trust is. And we've defined it. We've talked about the fact that there are lots of different definitions to trust.
It's a multidimensional construct.
It is. And I think that's part of the challenge when talking about anything like this is that we each bring something different to the conversation. We each have our own different experiences in terms of, what did trust look like in your house as a kid? And what did that mean, right? What was the context? How did you learn to navigate this thing called trust?
I have a random jump for you.
Go ahead.
Because I'm fascinated.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the kids think trust is?
Oh.
How it's earned, whether they have it?
I think I would say that they would say that trust is doing what you say you're going to do and people being able to believe you or count on you to do that. Some version of that, I think, is what they would say, which feels appropriate.
Like doing the right thing when no one's looking?
Yes. And I feel like you often say that to them.
I do. But I wonder if I differentiate appropriately between trust and integrity for them.
Or accountability. But I think those things are related.
I think accountability is a whole separate, I think trust, integrity. So trust, dependability, benevolence. Like I'm willing to be vulnerable to you. Integrity.
Openness.
Yeah, integrity is not really interactional per se. Like you doing the right thing doesn't necessarily mean you doing the right thing by a person. Like you should just be doing the right thing in general.
But you doing the right thing, I feel like I would interpret that if we're talking about this conversation around trust, I trust that you're going to do the right thing. And that, whether it's a relationship or work or whatever the thing is, I think that's how people use the term trust, right? So
I think there's a problem with that because depending on what your set of expectations you're operating off of, your idea of trust can be built or demolished just by the simple misunderstanding about like how you think about trust. So when I think about trust as it relates to, let's just say, using the kids as an example. So like a sentence I can hear myself say to them on a regular basis is like, I trust you to do what you're supposed to do. Like, I trust you to do your chores, right? Like, I know that there's no way that you're on the PlayStation and your chores aren't done. I trust that you did things in the correct order, right? But then there's a different situation that I would extend it to. So think about relationship fights, roommate fights. I mean, really, like a marriage is like roommate fight on steroids. Like if you really think about it to a certain extent.
I'm taking my stuff and I'm leaving.
Yeah, like, but like if you think about that, right? Like, what are the things? If you have a relatively healthy marriage, what are the things you fight about? Like, you fight about
money,
expectations. Like,
who did the dishes or didn't do the dishes?
Yeah, exactly. You fight about chores. You fight about expectations. It's like, yo, my nigga, like you really put all that laundry on the couch and walked by it 742 times and didn't fold nothing.
Like,
right?
That chair in our room is not for laundry. It's for sitting.
Or like, oh, so we just don't put toilet seats down, huh? Right? Like those type of fights.
Yes.
So even we're jumping ahead a little bit, but when I think about like trust being built and trust being destroyed, I think the micro moments tend to be much more important in the building and destroying than we give credit for. But the things that resonate. So when we were doing the open to the show, if I think about like, yo, I have one violation to my trust that echoes and is above all others. And like, it will make my chest hot and I will want to fight like it just happened.
I'm like clenching my teeth. Clenching my teeth.
Yeah. Like, and so I can think about that, but those really big explosive things aren't really where it's at. And I think all the ways that some people get the little things right, it creates the runway for repair if repair is actually available. And if you're getting the little things wrong, when the big thing happens, you're done. I feel like it's like holes in the boat, right? Like, yo, you could get hit by a single cannonball and like your ship still stay afloat.
Yeah.
But if there's mad holes that haven't been plugged, that have been developing, and then you get hit by a cannonball, like you're done.
So one of the things that I think is interesting about what you shared is that when I think about our marriage, for example, if you had asked, me then, regardless of all other decisions being made about my level of trust, like in you or in our marriage or in our relationship, I would have said at the time, there's absolutely nothing that could happen that could undo that, because my trust in what we had built was enough that my belief was that it could withstand anything. And so I think it's interesting to hear you talk about sort of the little pieces or the little things. And I think now we know there's a lot that we weren't. I think that's hindsight though, right? So hindsight's 2020 because but at the time it would have been like, yo, we're good.
If you had asked me at the time, I would have said exactly what you just said. Whereas like, man, I get like, what really could happen that I would give this up? Like,
here we are.
Like, I'm winning. I actually like my wife. Like you, like, I know plenty of you losers out there who are like sad as fuck. Like, I like the current one too. In case you were wondering, like, salty niggas just want to spread saltiness. Like, I just feel like I'm getting slapped with brine all the time. Like, one of the worst things to do.
Brine.
Yes, saltiness. Like, so when you're. Let's do a little fine dining, right?
Okay.
So when you're having oysters and there's actually a selection on the menu, like one of the terms that they'll use to alert you to what it might taste like is briny, oceanic. These are different words for fucking salty. And like, I think that having salty people in your circle,
yes,
there has to be a limit. Like, I have everybody that listens to this who knows my social circle would know exactly who I'm talking about. But like, I have a single salty person and that is my limit. Like, you can't have more than one salty person in your orbit when things are going down.
Okay.
Because that negativity will sink ships as well.
That makes sense. So let's take a step back from the perspective of others, because I do think that's another piece to the conversation in terms of how we think about trust. And I want to get back to what you were saying in terms of the foundation, because
I think
so like in a new relationship, for example, there's this dance that people do. It's like getting to know you. How much do I tell you? How much do I disclose? What do I share? What do I keep to myself? Who is my representative? And like over time, that representative ideally becomes the actual you, but maybe not. And if people feel like trust can mean a lot of different things. It's like, oh, well, I really like this thing, but I don't trust that this person is gonna.
I think you're operating from, so we're talking on like 3 different planes right now.
Oh, this is so interesting.
Yeah, so we have to be very careful. So like because there's something important to mind on each one of those levels.
Okay.
So I want to start with your original premise, right? Which was your belief. So we're divorced. Luckily, whatever foundation we had and whatever friendship we had was actually a foundation. That's why we can do this. That's why we can create space. That's why we excel at co-parenting. That doesn't mean that our foundation wasn't what we thought it was.
Okay.
To me, I would have been in the same general place as you were, with the assumption that like no matter what happened between us, both because of like some of the fights that we had before we even decided to get married, but like also just in general, like our shared values around certain things, I would generally be under the assumption that there's no way that could be disrupted. And I feel like, unfortunately, I'm a victim of the like Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until he gets punched in the mouth.
Oh,
right.
Yes.
Like I taste my blood right now, and I don't like the way this feels. And I'm not sure that I ever want to position myself to get hit in the mouth by Mike Tyson again.
No.
Yeah. And so like, to me, if I were like, yo, divorce is the way for me to never feel that way again, because that's what I thought. Like that was my feeling. Now I know now that's not true because.
But what is it? You can't prove a counterfactual. Like maybe if we had stayed married, it would have been terrible.
There's a very strong possibility that if we stayed married, we would have never processed in the way that lets us actually both be better people on the other end, because it's so easy to get caught up in the charade and the responsibility of marriage that and I have countless examples of unhappy people who are just going through the motions and who have like unhealed trauma in their relationships, but they're just too busy. Like, I'll tolerate this person, I'll be in the same space, but I won't enjoy it.
I'll do it until the kids are gone.
Yeah. And it's like people who are doing that countdown, like, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I have multiple friends and colleagues who are at different stages of divorce. And like, it affects people in such different ways. You know, some people are like, ding dong, the witch is dead. And I've been waiting to get out of this. Other people are like, I do not know who I am anymore. And I was much more in that latter group. Yeah. Like I was like, if I'm not Marge's husband and I'm not Maximilian and Macari's dad every day, then who am I? And whatever version of identity construction connected to relationship and family roles, I don't know that I ever thought that I could have such an emotional shock that would make me feel like I needed to rethink those things.
So it makes me wonder, when you talk about like that foundational piece, one of the concepts that comes to mind for me when I think about trust and building off of what you said, I think is related to safety. And I often think of, home, your home space as a place that should be safe, emotionally, psychologically safe. I think, when we have our discussion about trust, I feel like it's hard to separate those two things. And when we, like you said, there are lots of examples of people that we know that are just in unhappy situations for lots of different reasons. Yeah. And I think for me, it was, I don't trust that I'll be safe, right? Like I don't trust that if there is re-engagement, that it's not just going to come back to this again. And I think sometimes too.
So it's more like a psychological safety. Like,
right. Yeah. And I think too that like, when it comes to, I also wonder when it comes to trust in relationships, if people have enough conversations about what that is and what that really means.
Well, no. And the only reason, so I can say that I've had, there's so many different therapy buckets, like post-divorce, right?
Oh, so many.
Yeah.
So many buckets.
So like there's the identity bucket that we were talking about. There's the, will I ever love again?
Yeah.
Bucket. There's
a lot of people in that bucket.
Yeah. But there's also the like, does marriage make sense to me? Or like, is this a path that I wish to go down? And if so, like what kind of healing would I have to do to be able to give my all in a marriage again.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's and I think that you unfortunately only figured that out through trial and error as well.
That I have no interest in being married again and wanting to. And I think in the same way, trust is important. I think when trust is violated, it's really hard to come back to that, right? Because you're essentially opening yourself to like, this happened once, it could happen again.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's this challenge of, when you're, both sides of the equation of, I think we all want to be in trusting, safe relationships. I think you're probably hard pressed to find someone who's like, no, I want people to not trust me, right? Like, I want to be untrustworthy.
Yeah.
That's not.
I mean, I think there
no one's moving like that.
Yeah, but I think there's ways you can kind of conflate trust with other things too, right? So like, I know for an example to me is like if somebody has expansive ideas about sexuality, like it was like, oh, like I should be able to have other partners. And if we don't agree on that, that like, that's going to be a violation of trust or even the nature of intimacy, right? So like, who do you talk to about us?
Oh,
right? Like that's
yeah.
So for me, that's one that like I have to visit and revisit where it's like, huh.
Yeah. And I would, I feel like this is I don't know, like PSA for like younger listeners out there. Like, I think can we go to the Brene Brown piece? Because I feel like all of these things are on that framework. But I think it's really interesting how much trust is about not just our interaction with other people, but there's a social component too, right? Like I trusted you for this thing and now I've been betrayed, or like, oh, like what are people going to say? And like it becomes so much more than just.
Trust is inherently social though. And like even, I think about the ways you engage social trust, just like living in New York City, right? So you're standing at the corner of a crosswalk and you are on your phone or you're bullshitting some other way, but you peripherally feel the people around you walking.
Oh, and you just walk.
Yeah, you just start walking too. You're trusting that these niggas are not wilding and that they're not trying to get us all murked. And so in that way, trust is always relational to me.
Yes.
Because like the benefits and detriments of trust are all relational. Like, if I don't trust you, there are doors that I will make sure slam in your face. There are ways that I will try to distance myself or like keep myself. And really, when you think about safety, people that you don't trust are people you try to keep yourself safe from, whether it's emotionally or physically.
Yes.
Like,
especially in mid-Missouri.
Yeah. Like, like I don't trust, like you got out of a Jeep that had that blue and black flag and you seem to have misplaced all of your hair.
There's a lot of ink.
Yeah, like now I feel unsafe.
There's a lot of ink.
Yeah, like now I feel unsafe, and I gotta think about like
I gotta cross the street.
It's not even, and even the manifestations of responses, right? So like I know that for me, my response isn't cross the street. My response is like put myself between myself and whoever I'm with. Like put myself between this person and whoever I'm with. Yeah, because more likely than not, I'm with a woman or a child.
So the one thing that I wanted to come back to and what we've been talking about before we started recording was this, is it a frame? So Brene Brown has this braving inventory. And so it breaks down these elements of trust. And I really like the clarity that it offers. And so braving is an acronym, and it's boundaries, reliability, accountability, vault, which I really liked, integrity, non-judgment, and generosity. Vault, by the way, is you don't share information or experiences that aren't yours to share.
Yeah, integrity.
Which is she's back to your comment about
as part of.
So right, that's a component of it. And so I feel like all of these they make sense to me when I look at them, right? Like what's okay and what's not okay. So when we talk about trust and behavior and decisions that people make, right? You do what you say you're going to do. That's the reliability component. This one I feel like probably isn't talked about enough. And I feel like it makes sense for us to probably think about the next piece of it. Trust is a hard thing, right? There are lots of elements to it. Trust in relationships, new relationships or established relationships. People probably don't talk enough about trust when it's new.
Well, I think that people don't talk enough about the maintenance of trust too, depending on like the nature of your relationship. Because you have those friends where you literally could talk to them once every 7 months and you just pick right up where you left off. And then you have other friends where it's like, I haven't talked to you in a while and this feels weird and distant. And like, I think I'm good on.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't.
Yeah. Like,
I don't trust
really
it.
Good. And so even that, like, I think the expectations in terms of the maintenance of trust are a little bit different too.
How so? Or, yeah.
Yeah, like what I would be interested in, and I'm thinking out loud, so excuse me, but what's the difference between those friends where you could just pick up where you left off and the friends where you feel like you need more maintenance? And is that a trust level thing?
I think to some extent, yes. And I feel like my earlier comment, for example, I think we are more ourselves with people who we trust. And I think that being able to pick up where you left off. So, I have three homies who are my best friends from high school.
There's some people that can trust me less. I don't need.
Right. But I would trust them with anything, everything. Like, people talk about people who know me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, that's something that's been developed over time. It has been demonstrated in the ways that they show up for me, in the ways that we communicate when, they were there through the divorce, right? Like they were my support. And so I can trust them. There were other friends who was like, that's an interesting response that you have to this. I don't think I really need to interact with you as much. And it's not I also don't think it's like a F you or whatever. I think it's figuring out how to better align people in your life who also align with your values and your beliefs. And I think trust is one of those. And I feel like I'm saying this a lot lately, but the older we get, I feel like the more I understand how much I didn't understand. And the older we get, I think the more clarity I have on my understanding of trust, and also the places where, I have shortcomings. I have significant trust issues. They come from a lot of different places. How I was raised, early social interactions, my own mental image of who and what I am and what it takes to maintain that. And I feel like it also, I guess, understanding trust or thinking about trust in relationships also means like understanding yourself and understanding how and why you come to the decisions that you do. And I think in the same way that, if you had asked younger me about, us getting divorced or like the foundation of anything, I'd have been like, no way. I think I also recognize that younger me was probably not being as honest with herself as she needed to be about a lot of things. And that's inevitably going to impact your relationships. Or I think the ability to establish and build meaningful, trusting relationships, right, across the board. I think about work and I recognize part of my challenges with delegating responsibilities because I don't trust people to do what they're going to do. I realize that that's part, like, is that really going to get done? Is it going to get done to like my level of satisfaction? Like, oh, if I don't do this or I don't put my hands on this or I don't work on this, like,
that's the easy way to kill yourself.
It is.
As a leader.
I am learning, but I recognize that that's part of that challenge.
Yeah, I operate from the opposite end of the spectrum, and it's because I grew up with a lot of really trusting relationships. I mean, we spoke before on the pod. It was like I had a lot of really great adults around me, and I could just trust people to do what they're supposed to do.
When you say the opposite end of the spectrum, could you say
just that, like so you're starting from I have a lot of trust issues, and it comes from a lot of different places. And like for me, my naivete was based on the fact that I did not have trust issues. I feel like I can trust people, and in fact, if I had a thing that I've done wrong where I've grown, it's being more careful about who I trust and putting more boundaries. I mean, you could think I don't have to name any names, but like there are people who don't deserve your trust, but got way more time and way more energy or way more effort than they deserve. And like,
yeah,
for me, reflecting on that, it's because like that's my starting point. My starting point is typically like, yo, I trust you. And like, I wish to be trusted unless and until I give you a reason not to. And because my goal is to maintain authenticity to the best extent possible, I don't think it was until after some of the like learning from our divorce that I started to put people in their appropriate boxes. It was like, oh, you don't show up for me, or you're really actually selfish. And like, if this is not about you at all, then I can't. Yeah. Like that's not going to work. And I think having an expansive view of friendship has limited me in some ways, but it's also given me window into relationships that I otherwise wouldn't have. And so when I think about people I trust, interestingly, like one of the names that popped to the front of my mind was my line brother, but probably not the one most people would think. It's Amos.
What?
Because I promise you, me and Amos maybe talk like once, like for real talk. Like,
yeah, that was not what I was going to name.
We probably for real talk like once every 2 or 3 months. shit, sometimes it's like 4 or 5.
Uh-huh.
But when we do, it's always deep and like real.
Okay.
Like he asks me questions that other people don't ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gives me an opportunity to explore parts of my mind or like parts of my perspective that I otherwise wouldn't. And I appreciate him so much for doing that, but I don't know how to prompt that from other people. Right. So like I hate small talk, but I am a magnet for it.
Wait, what? Why are you?
People because I'm a teddy bear. And people are like, oh my God. He's smiling. Like
he wants to talk about nothing.
Yeah, he must want to hear me. Like he must want to. No, I don't. Like, do you have an interestingly nuanced perspective on something? Are you going to go somewhere that I haven't heard before?
Mm-hmm.
If you're just recycling some fucking take you saw on TV, whether it's Fox News or SportsCenter, like I could not be more bored. And so like, people who ask good questions, people who don't let you get off with the surface answer.
Mm-hmm.
Those are people who I like to engage with because then they bring more out of me and then that helps me drag more out of them. Because I'm always listening. And I think that's probably why I get so much of the small talk. Because people are just so excited to like have somebody that's going to listen to them that they'll just take advantage of that and they'll keep it at whatever. They're like, oh my God, is he maintaining? He's still listening. Oh my God.
What else can I share?
Yeah. What other hot takes can I get off right now?
My mom's coming to visit.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. Like,
and normally she doesn't, but this time because the kids had blah, blah, blah. And so
the number
so
of
I was
random
thinking about
friends I've made at the bar and I know way too much about their family. And I was like, I'm wearing the sign again. I must be wearing the talk to me. I'm an affable black dude sign.
The thing that gets me is when I have headphones on and I'm clearly attempting to not engage anyone. And it's like,
yeah, but you shouldn't be at the bar. Yeah, like, the bar's not the place to not engage.
I'm reading a book. I'm clearly
I don't respect that.
Here for the ambiance and not personal conversation.
Go to a coffee shop.
They don't have alcohol.
Different
That's
beverages.
The problem.
Lakota South.
Lakota does.
Shout out. No, they're not sponsoring the pod yet. But
my bad.
yeah, but
There's
Lakota
a coffee
South.
spot.
Yeah, they have a little mimosa situation on the weekends.
That Amanda who told me about that?
Yeah.
So they have drinks. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, giving off trust. I want to get back to, I think what you're saying sort of, afterwards, after essentially a violation. And I do want to name that violations look different for different people.
There's so many different forms of violations. So like, I think it's even the word infidelity to me is always really interesting.
Because what does that mean?
People always assume that it's like sexual. And it's like, no. Fam.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of ways to be disloyal. Like there's a lot of ways to be like, like I'm good on that. And like, I don't need that. Mm-hmm. And I think of it, there's so many different ways to think of it, but I think one of the ways that I think of it is, I love the love languages framework. And it's so,
easy, yes.
Yeah, but when you're talking to somebody in their love language versus talking to them in your own love language, I think that's like one of the big ones where when I see people missing each other, it's almost always because, hey, I've told you what my love language is. Mm-hmm. You continue to not honor that. Mm-hmm. And it's exhausting me. And I'm working very hard to give you what you asked for in your love language, right? Like, and I see so many ways, and it could be the man, it could be the woman, it could be gay relationship, like whatever combination, but you could just see that happening so clearly from a partnership perspective. And I feel like one of the kind of evolutionary ideas for me is a different level of accountability around communication before I treat people missing me as a violation of trust, because that's what it starts to add up to. Like if I'm like, hey.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like I've asked you for this thing and you
like
continue
I've been
to not.
Very clear. Like this.
And that's like, like
these are the things that make me feel seen. These are the things that make me feel cared for. These are the things that, that I need.
It's like these small, betrayal might be a strong word, but
it becomes a betrayal because when you get to the point where somebody has proven to you that they're not going to give you what you've asked for.
Accountability. Yeah.
Then the only way to hold them accountable is to withhold or to otherwise bring it back up. And like, what is your level of patience with that? Right? Like that starts to make you feel unsafe. Like, and on a super basic level, if you're like, I think of a man, physical touch. I'm a physical touch person, right? Like that, it's an easy one.
Yes.
So it's like, yo, I really
just touch me.
Yo, like you could really just and I would
place your palm
fine. Yeah, like I'm
on my head. Like just head rubs and tummy pats.
But
something.
like just, and if you're like, hey, I'm clear and I feel like I'm doing what you're asking me to do.
Well-
Like I feel like I'm keeping your cup full.
So I think that this feels challenging because I think some of what can happen is, one partner says, I need X from you. I need this from you. I want you to do this. That will build trust. That's how I know you respect me. That's how I know
that's
we're
how I feel
engaged.
seen.
That's how I feel seen. Right.
Yeah.
All the things. And that makes sense. And I guess this gets back to I think if you ask most people, no one says, oh yes, I want to be untrustworthy. Like I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, it's an action. It's a series of actions.
But
But you
do
can't hold
think-
people accountable for it until after you've communicated with them. And so we get back to like one of the core themes, which is communication.
But even then, I think that it doesn't account for what might be difficult for that person. And not to say they shouldn't do it or like you don't deserve to have your love language met.
Yeah.
But I think that in these conversations around trust, there also needs to be space for, and I don't even think that repair is the right word, but I think we're all works in progress. And so maybe the question is, how much are you willing to engage or offer space or make time for those changes to be seen? Because I think that, like when I think about the relationship, both our, marriage and divorce and dating, before and after or whatever, I can recognize that if it's surface, I don't have to think about trust and it's easy for me to disengage. So if somebody's not giving me what I want or need, whatever. That's not gonna, it's over, on to the next, right? And so
yeah, that's that pretty woman shit.
but I think that I can recognize that part of it is a
defense mechanism.
I was trying not to use that word.
I mean, but that's what it is, right? Like,
and so again, but I get back to the point of like, I don't want, now I'm not going out there like, I can't wait to get in a shallow relationship or like, I'm looking for something shallow. So for me, when I think about, okay, new relationships and what's being developed, I'm recognizing that like, oh, okay, I have some framing that I need to adjust and work through. I in any relationship that I have, I want there to be trust. And so I think it's also, for me, it's like, well, there needs to also be time.
But there's mutuality to the defense mechanisms, right? So in the same way that you could be like, hey, I'm keeping my relationship shallow so that I don't have to get to the point where it gets difficult. Like somebody else's defense mechanism could be like, yo, I was asking for my needs to be met too much in the previous situation. And I really would have preferred to be with that person than to not be with that person. And so now in the next situation, I'm not going to ask to have my needs met.
Yeah.
And like, those are the type of things where I'm like, I think that there are adaptive responses to trust violations and there's maladaptive responses to trust violations. But a lot of it just starts with you and like what you actually want.
I think that is
like, I have no time for shallow relationships. Like I really don't.
No.
Unless it's like a business transaction. Like, hey, because a lot of the people, and I even say this like lovingly, my like secondary, tertiary network people that I don't really like necessarily talk to on a super regular basis be some of the most supportive people of what I'm doing. And like I look forward to having the opportunity to return the favor and to like support them. And sometimes it'd be your own people that you feel like should be supporting that don't do or don't make time or
And so then it's like, all right, cool. I'm just not gonna.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm not gonna bring it up again because y'all played me last time.
Don't worry about it.
Or like, yeah, like I don't even sweat that.
Sorry, it took me to a place. I'm not gonna go there so we can stay on script.
Yeah, but I think that's so when I think about building trust, repairing trust, even the idea of a relationship to me now, it's completely built on trust. Like, why would I want you in my spaces? Why would I want you around my wife and my children? Why would I want you around my co-parent? But why, like, if I don't trust you to behave, if I don't trust you to like honor our relationship in the way that you interact with people, if I don't trust you to do the things that are valuable and necessary, and sometimes it's just showing up. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Why would I be in a relationship with you? I like maybe that's I'm too old for that.
It's like I don't.
Yeah. Like I'm not out here for frivolous friendships. Like.
Yeah. I guess I feel like I feel like I'm in the phase of when I grow up and what does the next 10, 15, 20 years look like, and I think for me, part of it is figuring out, like, I need a new definition of trust to build on for myself, right? Like, what does it mean to trust someone? And not just an internal definition, but how do I demonstrate and open myself up to, because I think that there's also that piece of it that we haven't really, I think we started there, but didn't really get into, which is trusting also means being vulnerable, right? It means being open.
Yeah, vulnerability is absolutely.
Even talking about it now, I'm like, oh, that makes my chest hurt. Oh my God. It's such a scary thing. And I feel like everything else, I feel like we talk on this pod, but we just don't have these conversations enough.
Yeah, I think I'm more afraid of being in a situation where I don't feel like I can trust. And I think part of the better, it's funny. So I was talking to my wife about this not too long ago, but like, it's so interesting to me how little happy couples say about their partnership because they don't want to jinx that shit.
It's like, don't say anything. Don't talk about it. Don't breathe on it.
And it's like, you know, the idea of being happy, and like I worry about that too, because it's like I would much rather be happy than like play happy on social media.
Yo.
Right? Like, and thinking about, okay, what are the ways in which I know that my marriage has gotten better?
Mm-hmm.
I know that some of it is me paying attention to me and like how my trust and my understanding of myself interacts with what I make available or don't make available to my wife.
Oh, uh-huh.
And so in a conversation, like if I'm like, man, I've had this conversation 15 times, but I plan to be married to you for the rest of my life.
Can I?
And so I'm going to say it to the 200th time if I have to, because I ain't going nowhere. Like, my clock is reset. She's 5. She's starting kindergarten. Like, at minimum, we talking, you know, I got 5 years of slave left with you. And then I got another 8 to 10 piece
3 plus 2 year plan.
Yeah. So I'm like, yo, at the minimum, because I already know how I am as a husband and a father and a co-parent. And so no matter what, it's going to require proximity and interaction. And it's just harder when you're not together than it is when you are. And I'm not doing that again. But having the perspective of like, okay, you know, you have all this good time. So like, even if I think about the timeline of our relationship, it's like fun. Awesome. Terrible. Like literally, you remember when niggas used to do the, like you see through the little tiny crack in your forefingers? Like, it's this little dot of terrible that exploded my whole life. And like, yeah, so like now I can look and I can be like, yo, like there's not really, like, I'm not exploding my life. But also like, I'm also not going to take punishment.
Oh.
Beyond, right? So like, I think that when I look back on our situation, like part of it is when you don't know, when you've never had your trust violated in a way that like really rocks your world, you don't really know who you become. And I know that there are aspects of my personality that came out that are not me. Like literally not me. Like that I'm like, that's not who I am.
Who is that person?
Yeah, like that's not who I am, and that's not how I wish to be. And so one of the things that I think about that is like very present, and I can see it and I can identify when it's happening in other directions, is like punishing. Like, okay, you didn't do this thing, so now I feel like I gotta punish you. I gotta remind you all the time of the way that you failed or the way that you're not living up to. And like that's a deflection, a justification for anything that I want to do. And like I find that so obnoxious.
Oh.
Generally. I just think I'm like, all right, they did the thing. We had the conversation. Doesn't mean they're not going to do it again, but we're going to address it again, but we're not going to harp. It's not going to be like, I'm expecting you to fail. I'm like, we're just not going to do that. That's not how I wish to engage. And so it's much easier to interrupt that process for myself, or like if I see it coming out, or if I see it directed toward me, if I see it directed toward the kids, like, no. We're not going to punish.
You know, I think it's also when we think about trust and building or violations or what it means, I think we also need to be more, maybe it's discerning. And I think what you just said resonates because people make mistakes. None of us are the Lord, right? Like we're not perfect. We are very flawed creatures. And I think there's also, I think some of it is about, it's not just intent. Right, like that, because your intent doesn't undo harm.
Intent versus impact.
Right? No, your impact. If your impact is harmful, it's harmful. But I do think intent matters. I do think, I don't know. I feel like, you know.
But your perception of intent can influence your ideas about reparability.
Yes, right. Yeah, like, so I think of the difference between.
If somebody wouldn't think of me in this way or in this situation, then I don't think that that's the type of person that I need to be with.
Yes, right. Versus like, we have some friends who are like, oh no, that's who that person is.
Yeah.
Like that is just,
yeah.
There's a lack of care, there's a lack of concern, there's a lack of everything, right?
Yeah.
Versus like, ooh, like how'd they end up there? Like,
or like that's uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
Right. Or like that's not showing up in other aspects of
right, surprise. Yeah. And so I feel like there's also a need to be, I guess, balanced, which is difficult when, and we talk about this all the time, we get hijacked by our emotions. And it's hard to be mindful and thoughtful and think about all of these things. And so, I wonder, maybe my question for you is like, what are the things that you do now or tell yourself now regarding trust to keep yourself balanced? If there are any.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that it takes time and to not give up. So there's a scripture that I like. It's Galatians 6:9. And I would just invite listeners to go to that scripture and sit with it because it really has given me a lot of different stages in my life. But the essential gist is like never grow weary of doing good because your harvest will come. And if I have a long-term view for how something should go, and if I want to consider myself a leader worth caring for and deferring to, and being in community with, and like being allowed to be uplifted by, that part of that is patience, but part of it is also discernment. And so the patience part is there are plenty of micro incidents that can make you annoyed with somebody, but there's a difference between like you annoying me and like I can't trust you, and like being able to discern the difference and organizing your behavior in such a way that you're moving closer to resolution or you're moving closer to a positive outcome rather than living in a negative. I think that's part and parcel of what it means to be a good leader, like an emotionally aware leader, but also somebody that like puts the bottom line above their in the moment needs. And
are you saying the bottom line is trust in this case?
To me, if your desire is to be in a long-term partnership with somebody, then I think trust, repair, safety, like psychological safety and trust are kind of essential in a relationship. And so when you feel like your safety is being compromised or you feel like your trust is being compromised, like speaking up about it, but in a way that is directed toward repair and care and like mutuality and like recognition, because it could be any number of things, like I think our relationship right now is a good example where it's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. Like you've been Mrs. Promises and it's like, oh, if you're not a person that I'm comfortable with, like I'm working it out, but I can see it now pretty clearly. Like you're not a person that I can have a every 3 months relationship with. Yeah. Like we have too many things intertwined. And so when it feels like that, or when it feels like we haven't had a chance to process enough of this huge drop down list of things, and like you're about to get on another plane, or
I am
like
about to get on another plane.
Yeah, like that's hard. And I have the wherewithal now to be like, all right, this isn't Marge taking me for granted. This isn't like whatever other story I would tell myself if I were hurt and I was like allowing myself to live in the negative emotions. This is like she's overwhelmed and getting her ass whooped and like treating her house like a locker room.
It's terrible. This weekend was so nice though. People are like, oh, what'd you do? I was like, nothing. I was in my house with the kids. And
so like I can recognize that as, all right, let me create space. Or in my marriage, there's a great example. So Donna had this job that she hated.
Oh yeah, when she first.
And it was compromising our relationship.
Oh.
Because I would get whatever scraps were left after she exhausted herself all day. And like every avenue of care that I would desire was replaced by listening to her bitch about work. And there's a time where I'd have been like, oh, well, you don't care about me. Like,
no, I do.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna go like, I'm just gonna go hit these streets and like you fucking figure it out. Like, I'll be at the bar. I'll be where my homies are. I'll be like, I've been in the place where the easy maladaptive coping mechanism, which even can be friendship, is like, hey, if I'm using my friendships to hide from needing to fix what's going on in my house, like that's still hiding from it. Like that's still a problem. Whereas like now I could be like, oh, you're sad about work.
Stop.
Like, well, what's not going to happen is you're not going to treat me like shit or the kids. So get the fuck together. And I got your back. Like, what can I do? Like, there's some things that are beyond my control. Like, I can't change your boss. I can't. But like, if you need me to do the drop off and the pickup, if you need me to do more cooking, if you need me to wake up for the baby a little more often, like, yo, like I can do those things because I've been through this shit before. And I know what this is. Like, I know that And because unfortunately I married a similar woman before. But like when you don't feel like things are right at work, it's very difficult for you to show up anywhere else.
That's
And
terrible.
I get it. And I've seen it before. But because I had that experience, I can be like, not only it's because it's actually a multi-directional trust. Not only do I trust that we're going to get through this, but I trust myself to lead. Even if I feel like I'm not getting what I need, because I know that what matters is us.
Oh, you're saying you've come to that now. Okay, yeah.
Like what matters is us. And like I can eat shit for a little bit because you don't have the capacity to take care of me because this is overwhelming you. Like this is creating. And so a more immature version of me is like, oh, you're not taking care of me? Well.
But even that, right, is I think going back to the beginning is like that's so you're able to identify like, hey, there's this thing that is like stressing me, eating my time, my emotional energy, whatever it is, for whatever reason. It's not, oh, I don't care about you or whatever. And I agree that like, no, people, that you shouldn't be mistreated. But I also think, maybe the other side of it is like, okay, I'm in this for now. And I trust that like my partner's going to have my back and that they know it's not because I want to be.
Yeah, but there's also limits.
Person.
There's also limits to that because like, I think about it. It's like the traditional, my goal was always to be a kept husband.
Oh,
and
sorry about that.
Marjorie failed.
Yes. We're not even married anymore. That's not my responsibility.
I might have stayed with you if you were a college president. Because I'm a gold digger, nigga. And actually, that's where I was going. Right. So it's different. And I think about, I'm watching some like trash TV shows with my wife right now. Like this is one called Sneaky Links, which is just nuts.
Sneaky Links?
Yeah. Oh,
Is it what it sounds like?
It's as terrible as it sounds.
That sounds terrible.
But it makes me think about like the casting generally for like, like Real Housewives and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I was like, what keeps niggas in bad situations?
Money.
It's that somebody is holding everything down.
Taking care of everything.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I don't know that I have any. Right? Like
you are a gold digger.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, like she's a college president though, bro. Like I'm the first man of the university. Like I gotta keep this wardrobe tight. I'm hitting these sit-ups. I gotta look good in these flicks. You know what I mean?
I'm so glad I didn't go that route. Oh my goodness.
But I think there are ways that people will lower themselves, shrink themselves. They won't believe that the long-term repair is available. But it's like, I'm willing to make this trade-off.
I think it's hard. I mean, it's, I think about, again, our divorce, for example, and eventually we got to a place where it's like, okay, no, we should like work on this, right? Once the high tide of emotion, went out. And I would think that, I think for any of my like intimate or personal relationships that, and I feel like I can recognize like, oh, that was my bad. Like, or, oh, I could see how you asked for, X and like I was giving you Y and like that's not aligned. And so there's a need to course correct, right? Like there's a need to fix that. And I guess I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's patience. Maybe my thing about trust is that it also requires us to be patient. And I feel like it's hard to put a number or a deadline on patience. Particularly if, and now this is not the case in like, there are some situations where people need to get out and like, that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah. Like the first time somebody puts their hands on you, like you should be ready to take a look at the door.
Yeah. Like that can't, there are certainly different scenarios. Right. And so I also think though, like most people probably can work their stuff out. And like they just, right. It's hard to be patient when you're in an emotional.
People are bitches emotionally, Like,
really, Michael?
Yeah, like I can recognize it in myself. But it's like, like
I was like, as long as we're not being pot and kettle.
No, well, I think that people have really low thresholds for pain.
That makes sense. Like, our brains are designed to avoid pain.
Yeah, and so like so much of the human animal is like avoiding pain, and it means that there's
discomfort.
What is the Kahneman? Oh, I'm gonna misquote it, but it's like one of the Daniel Kahneman biases.
Who is Daniel Kahneman?
He's a really famous psychologist that talks about a whole bunch of like, cognitive biases that we have to worry about. He's a dude who wrote Thinking Fast and Slow.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
We'll
put links in the show notes.
Yeah, but I don't want to misquote it, but essentially the idea is that, we spend so much time avoiding pain, but like the emotional resonance of pain is much greater than the emotional resonance of happiness. Like you will remember your losses.
Yes.
Like they just happened yesterday.
Deeply.
And that will stay with you forever.
Forever.
But like you could have had amazing victories and they're ephemeral. It's like, oh yeah, I did do that. Like
graduation was good.
Yeah. Like I walked across the stage and I got hooded. I, I took down this chick I was trying to bag. Like, all right, right? Like, but
I won an
But if you're-
award or a grant.
yeah, like you're chasing, and it's almost like this weird addiction situation too. Now that I'm thinking about it, because like you chase the high, like you chase the high of accomplishment, but then it wears off very quickly. But the pain of loss,
Crystal clear.
yeah, like you never forget.
Picture perfect
Like,
recall.
yo, I know exactly where I was.
I was standing here. I was wearing this. It was this time of day.
Yep.
This is who else was there. The sun was shining or it was rain. I mean,
Yeah.
yes. And there's a short reel. Short?
Yeah, and
Reel
I
in
feel
my
like
head?
that's
Yeah.
so when I think of that, a lot of times what I try to remember, and even part of my gratitude practice is related to that. Like, I have so many things to be grateful for. Why am I letting this one obnoxious thing or obnoxious person or obnoxious interaction
Yes.
ruin? Like, why would I let 10 seconds ruin the 10,000s of seconds that are available in the day? Right.
Mhm.
Like, I think trust operates in a similar way. I think repair operates in a similar way, but we're just so used to trying to avoid pain that it's very seldom that we have the wherewithal to give ourselves the appropriate runway of time for
To get
repair
through the
really be-
discomfort and pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like, oh, I can't feel like this.
No.
And if I feel like this,
I have
how am I going to do?
Get rid of it.
Yeah. Like, how am I going to do anything I'm responsible for if I feel like this?
Yeah. And that's a very real feeling and sensation. In fact, I had a conversation with a friend recently who's going through divorce, and their question was like, yo, when does it stop? And I'm like, it gets better. I don't have a date or a timeline. Like, it just
Yeah.
eventually doesn't feel like death.
Yeah, like you just don't need, you feel like you don't need to do that no more. Or like you don't feel like you need to say that. Or you don't feel like that flash of emotion or like that
right. It
tightness
just
in your
doesn't
chest.
come up
Yeah.
as much. And then you,
Yeah, but
yeah.
like to be,
But there's no time. Like, there's no, I can't say like, oh, on this date at this time, I was like, I'm good.
yeah.
No.
No. And like even that, I wonder even to this day if I'm good.
I can admit that, like, I still have.
Like there's still things that piss me off.
Yes.
Like I'd be like, ooh. Like, yo, I can't believe this. Like after all I did,
It's like,
there's ugh.
it's fine because we are mature adults now
Yeah.
and life moves on and we're good. But yeah, I did not tell her that because I was like, you don't want to hear that.
But like, yeah, I mean, but like, you know, healing is
Because my answer was like, kind of never.
well, yeah, and that doesn't mean that it should stop you from growing.
No. And
Right?
I think
And,
that's
like,
the difference.
yeah,
Like, it's
like-
what you do with that feeling and that
Yeah,
emotion.
what do you do with the anger? What do you do with the like mistrust? What do you do with the like desire to hide? Like that was one of the major upshoots for me is that like I feel like I need to hide myself from people, but like from the world. And I never want to feel like that.
Do you mean like in the aftermath of getting divorced?
Yeah.
And, okay.
Yeah. It's like I want to hide.
I don't think of it as hiding though. Now this feels like another episode and we're like so far over time. So I'm going to save it.
Yeah.
But I do think, to bring us back, I think that we all walk around with our own definitions of trust. And to your point about communication, and again, we talk about this all the time. If you have to have those conversations, and I will say from experience, like they're going to be uncomfortable, right? Like figuring out
They have to be.
like
Or they're not going to be productive.
right? And you can't grow. Like growth
Yeah.
requires discomfort. If you go to the gym and you're working out and you're not feeling like pain and discomfort, you're probably doing it wrong,
You're not
right?
doing nothing
And
wrong.
this is no different, right? It's your mental emotional gym, and even at this 40-something age,
Ooh. You seasoned, yo.
yo,
With salt and pepper. Ooh.
unnecessary.
Shout to Deion Cole. Vintage.
I think that, even at this stage in my life, this age in my life, it's still a process, right? And I'm still learning and growing. And so I, want to encourage our listeners and, if there's somebody that you feel like could benefit from just hearing this conversation, like, yo, yeah, it's hard. Rebuilding trust is hard. Developing trust in new relationships is hard. Making yourself open and available and vulnerable is hard. Like this, being a human being is hard. Like this is all, it doesn't just happen, right?
And
And I feel
wanna
like
start
we
a whole
can't.
nother episode.
No, we can't.
about, like-
this is me summarizing.
Yeah, because I feel like that's like so one of the things I think is interesting is how the spiral down continues itself. And it's because like hurt people trauma bond with other hurt people.
Oh, then we were just now we're
And
yeah.
you're spiraling because neither one of you trust anybody and you don't trust yourself.
No good. No good. So try something new. Open yourself up to just a different way of thinking, of being, of making yourself, even saying it, I'm like, oh, vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, but like what is
I think it's worth it. I do think making that time and space in relationships is important and valuable. And I think that, when I reflect on my life experiences, my partner experiences, my intimate relationships, unfortunately, I think there's a consistent pattern of wanting to protect myself and like wanting to avoid hurt or pain or harm and engaging in behaviors that don't align with the things that I think ultimately I say that I want or I've said that I wanted. And so
God, tell me.
it's a whole other pod. So I think now, at this point, figuring out, okay, I'm gonna commit, right? It's like double dutch. You're like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump in, and you might get smacked by the rope a time or two, maybe a couple times. But once you get it, you doing the like, oh, this is fun. This is good. Like I like it. I'm enjoying it.
There's always the chance that somebody throws a rock and hits you in the nuts, though.
What the why?
But you learn that from experience, B. You could be Yeah. Anytime you could get hurt, B. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth it.
Okay.
And I think that's so like if I had a takeaway, so as we're doing like our reading rainbow wrap up kind of situation, your relationship can reach heights that are otherwise unavailable to it if you trust and make yourself vulnerable.
Yeah.
If you have the tough conversations, if you stay present, if you're willing to repeat yourself endlessly until you see the behaviors that are important and you begin to change. And like the combination of trust and patience.
Yeah.
And even, the brave and acronym, like I actually do like it to revisit as we close because each one of those things actually is a part of what you need to create space for you to have the type of relationship that you really want, right?
Yes.
You need boundaries. You need to understand each other's boundaries. What's a violation? What's inside? What's outside? And you need to be willing to revisit it because they evolve.
They change.
And a lot of times they can evolve without
you realizing it.
and having conversations about it.
Or like your interpretation of what that means can look different.
Reliability. What does it mean? What are the demonstrations of reliability? And reliable about what? Because there's some people who are reliable about physical care. There are some people who are reliable about picking up the kids and the dinner being on the table or taking care of the things like, oh, I got the gas in the car and I got the oil changed.
Or
right?
at work, like not over promising so that you can balance your priorities because,
Yeah, like, but that's a
you
part of
unreliable.
reliability too.
Yes.
Yeah, because it makes you, if you promising some people some stuff and only one out of the 5 people is getting the stuff you promised, right?
You
Like,
should promise less stuff.
yeah, but that goes right into the accountability piece.
Yes.
Like, what does accountability mean in a trusting relationship?
Yeah.
And how do we hold each other accountable while also making sure that we're still pouring into the cup of the overall relationship? Like, nobody wants to feel nagged. Nobody wants to feel like they're the only ones being held accountable.
Mhm.
Like, accountability requires some mutuality for it to work in a relationship. The vault, like, what are the things that are between us?
Yes.
What are the things that are not being said to anybody else?
And I think that's
What are the things that are not being
really
shared with anybody else?
important. I think sometimes people, I will speak for those that I know. I think sometimes women overshare what's going on in their lives and personal relationships. Again, something that I formerly have been guilty of. And everybody doesn't need to know everything. Like everybody doesn't deserve everything. And you shouldn't trust everybody with everything.
Yeah. The integrity, like I trust you when you're in my face and I trust you when you're not in my face. Like I believe that you're going to act in the best interest of our relationship, no matter what situation you find yourself in. Non-judgment, which is very hard, especially in the face of violation. And maybe we have to do like a whole episode about violation and repair, like post-violation repair.
Yeah. Because I think the non-judgment piece, again, it can be really difficult, especially if emotions are heightened. And it's, blame and shame and hurt. And like you said, all of these.
And it's connected to vulnerability, right? Because if you feel like somebody's judging you, it's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to be like, yo, like this really, you need to feel like somebody cares. And you need to feel like somebody is non-judgmental.
And I would add to, I think that it's also important to be mindful of like how we respond to people when they're sharing those things. I think sometimes in relationships, like we don't even realize that we're being judgmental, or maybe that's again like intent versus impact. Like maybe it's not your intent to be or sound judgmental about whatever, but that's what came across, right?
Absolutely.
And now
And people, the same thing is like
down.
people disengaging. Like you're talking to somebody and they pull their phone out. Like
That's wild.
yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, people would be wilding. So there's so many different times where you'd be like, "Did you just see a squirrel in the middle of our conversation?" Like I'm talking to you, right? Like.
Whole other conversation. I was at the park with Maya this weekend, and I felt like I was in like a commercial, like a PSA for being present, because there was literally a dad. So he's like swinging the kids, like the babies, so they can't swing themselves. And he's like pushing the both of them. Well, giggle's fun. And they're like going, and he pulls out his phone. I don't know what Instagram video he was on or whose OnlyFans page, but this man was engrossed to the point where the swings had stopped swinging and they were like trying to get his attention. And I'm like, he really is gone. Like,
yeah, you got to watch. The phone is a vortex that's
engrossed.
Extremely dangerous.
And they're watching you, not watching them, and on your phone. So like, What are we doing? Anyway.
And then generosity is the last one though, from the Braving acronym.
So what does that mean?
And so to me, when it comes to trust, like I think the generosity and non-judgmental pieces are kind of connected. Because like if I've made a mistake, I need you to be generous with your interpretation of my motives.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need you to be generous with the time and patient with the time it takes to repair.
Yeah.
But also like if you're somebody I trust, I expect you to be generous to me. Like I want you to demonstrate that you care for me through generosity in some way, shape, or form. And so yeah, we are way over time.
No, it's not that bad.
It's bad.
It's not.
Well, they're gonna have to cut out all that wild stuff that you did earlier with the phone going off. So,
unnecessary. You were just extending the length of it.
I was being generous. I trust you.
With that,
thank you for rocking with us on another episode of the Parents and Professors podcast.
Peace.
If this conversation resonated with you, do us a huge, huge, huge favor. Like the episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on all our socials. I actually be going crazy on Instagram, so that's the best one.
And please feel free to drop a comment below. Tell us what you liked, what you hated, where you'd like us to dig deeper, or even if you think we missed something. We're always learning and growing, and we want to make sure that we're creating content that resonates with viewers like you.
And most importantly, and this is a huge one, if you know somebody who could benefit from hearing the conversations that we're having on this episode, please share. Sharing is caring. We're doing this for the love and to build a community because it matters.
And at the end of the day, that's the most important part, creating spaces where we can have real, honest conversations about the things that matter to you: education, parenting, relationships, and everything in between.
So thanks for being part of our community. Go check out the catalog of other episodes if you haven't. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Parents and Professors podcast.